This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I don't know what happened there.
There's a reason I never let him open this show. There it is right there.
Well, again, if they'd fixed these lights that don't work in this console for the last few months, we might know it was off. But I saw Bree reaching in there. Was that you, Bree? Aha! See, it wasn't me, Dave, so you can apologize later. But anyway, welcome to Bumper Radio. I'm Matt Allen alongside, he's my friend, Dave Riccio. And together every Saturday we are the KTAR car guys helping you, motoring public, with your car. You know, we want you to have a great ownership experience with your car, no matter what kind of car it is. And part of that experience is you have to get repairs done. Unfortunately, these things break down and they need maintenance, and there's problems. Then you have to go deal with a shop. And we are here to make all of that easy for you. You can call us. You can ask us questions. You can do that by dialing 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. If you like to text, you can do that at 411-923. And it doesn't matter what we're talking about because the show is for you. So whatever you have a problem with in your car, maybe you've got a big list of repairs that need to be done. Maybe that sticker up in the window says you should have had the oil changed 10,000 miles ago, and it's been neglected. Or maybe you went to the shop and they said you need this additive, right? Dave, a little snake oil. There's some salesmen out there slanging some stuff that goes in the gas tank and in the oil and the power steering. Should we break some of this down?
I think it's Slick 50. That's my earliest memory of snake oil. And I remember my mom buying a new car when I was maybe in junior high, 6th, 7th grade, and my grandfather driving all the way up from Tucson and showing up with a bottle of Slick 50. He says, "We got to put this in your mom's car." And he gave me all the science behind it, the Teflon-coated polonium hydroxy modulated whatever. I don't know.
Something like that. And so we changed the oil, and instead of a quart,
5 quarts of fluid that we put in the car, we put 4, and then we added the Slick 50, and that needed to be done every 50,000 miles.
And that protected the engine, right?
Correct.
I kind of remember they had this animation, if you will, and it showed all these little molecules going down into the pores of the oil, and
they got the same illustration for your skin.
Didn't that end in a lawsuit?
It did. I think eventually someone down the road proved, it was baloney.
Baloney with the polonium carbide.
And they called it Slick 50 because the guy who sold it to you was very slick.
Right.
He was slickster.
Well, one of the most common ones that we had, and I think this was really this topic comes up based on a question that we had, and I think it was a text message last week. So that's why we encourage you to text and send emails. And it helps us wonder what you guys are all wondering about. And the question came up about fuel injection cleaning, and it was whether do I put something in the gas tank, and should I have my fuel injectors cleaned? Is that necessary? Maybe you go to the car wash and the kid comes out and he just got done with a sales seminar, and, "Ma'am, would you like to have your fuel injectors cleaned today?" It's almost like, would you like a Coke or would you like to supersize it? No basis for it. He just, hey, you want to get it done?
I remember supersize. They don't say that anymore, do they? That name went away.
Yeah, that went away because they're trying to make everybody sound less unhealthy than we are. So you go in and they just say, "Oh, you need this. Do you want to do it? Do you want to do it?" And I remember back in the 80s when I started working on cars, people would come into the shop and they would say, "I need my fuel injectors cleaned," because there was a lot of problems back in the day. The fuel quality wasn't as good. The fuel filters weren't as good. The oil wasn't as good. And yeah, just you had to clean the fuel injectors sometimes you have a car that didn't run so good, clean the fuel injectors, and man, that baby purred like a kitten.
Yep.
But now there's all kinds. You can get, I guess it's kind of like beef or booze or clothes. You can get really good stuff. You can get really cheap stuff. And even the methods are different. What really works? Dave, I mean,
the question last week, I think he was, part of it was in regard to, somebody recommended he put something in his fuel tank. Mm-hmm. And you talked about, well, there's a Techron additive or there's top-tier fuels that have some of that stuff in there. And, you mentioned, Matt, we were talking before the show, that some of these late-model cars that are having carbon issues, they actually recommend in the manual to use a fuel additive, at certain intervals. Maybe it's every other oil change.
Like 7,500 miles is one of the ones that comes to mind on a Hyundai or Kia model. And
so that is one of the delivery systems, is to actually pour a bottle of stuff or schmooey in the fuel tank to help clean the car, clean the fuel system. So that's a normal thing. But when is it snake oil? Because we started this out. When is it snake oil? When is it not snake oil? So we have that type of deal. The other thing that we have is there's a fuel rail that all the fuel injectors are part of, and then they shoot the fuel into the engine or into the combustion chamber or the intake, have you. And so you can plug into with your schmooey, which is a different schmooey than what you put in the fuel tank. But there's a different schmooey that plugs right in the fuel rail, and then you can inject that schmooey through the fuel injectors into the cylinders, if it's direct injection, or into the intake.
Or into regular. I mean, even just a normal port fuel injection, yes.
So we have that. So we got the stuff you put in the tank. We have the stuff that you put in the fuel rail. And then lastly, Matt, you talked about, the air.
The air system. So you need air and you need fuel to make the car go boom. You got to get a spark, and then you got some combustion. And you've got to have the right mixture. So in that airstream, we filter the air from the outside, but you've got to remember in that airstream also is the crankcase ventilation. And what's crankcase ventilation? It's just the fumes that come off the top of the engine, or the valve cover, if you will, and it's just stuff happening inside the engine, blow by from the combustion, the fine mist of oils and acids and whatever that combustion process.
Which they're going to re-ingest into the air.
Yeah, you want it because you don't want that going to the atmosphere. So they re-ingest that to the engine, burn it, and it should clean it up, and then goes out through the catalytic converter. Well, in that airstream are fine particles of soot and acids and oil and so on and so forth. And even the air itself isn't perfectly clean. And so you get a buildup. You'll get a buildup of carbon or gook. Think of your fireplace. You got to get the chimney swept every once in a while and get that out. So that carbon builds up in the airstream, and that is more like a restriction on the engine has to ingest air. It's a pump basically. So instead of running around the block and breathing through your mouth, maybe you drop that down to a 1/2-inch PCV pipe and go run around the block and see how that works, and then restrict it down to the big McDonald's straw.
It's like breathing through a coffee straw.
Yeah,
Ooh, then you're really hurting.
So now the car is not efficient. So you've got to periodically clean these three systems. You've got to clean the air system. You've got to clean the fuel injectors. I always say the fuel injectors, they don't clog up as much as they used to in the early models in the late 70s and 80s and even 90s. I don't think they have the clogging problems they used to. Now the direct injectors are starting to. But it's not so much the fuel injectors that we want to clean. We're using the fuel injection system to deliver the solution that removes the carbon from the valves in the combustion chamber. It cleans the oxygen sensors a little bit too, and cleans the whole system. But they're not all created equal.
There's really three ways. You just described three ways of cleaning. There's the fuel tank stuff, schmooey, the fuel rail schmooey, and then you talked about cleaning the air system. There's actually fog that you can put in through that system to clean it. And in certain cars, you can't do that with.
Yeah, so it's not just, you just can't make the blanket statement. I mean, we can, and you don't necessarily have to do all together. Now, you can go to Acme Auto Parts or your Napa Auto Parts store or whatever you want to go to and get additives for your tank. There's only a couple that I like. You can get the one Chevron or Techron. You get that at any Chevron station. They probably have it at Costco. I see it there a lot. And get it at some parts stores. Liquimoly is a German product. It's pretty good.
Sounds like it would be good.
Yeah, Liqua. It's got all kinds of things. Sounds schmancy.
It does sound good.
Seafoam. I mean, that started off. That's old product. I think it still works pretty good, especially on a carbureted car or an early car. And then professional strength stuff like we sell in our shop, and most shops use a product called BG. Those are good to do occasionally. I wouldn't do it. Read the bottle like I told the gentleman last week. Maybe once in an oil change.
Yeah.
At most.
Right.
But again, they're not all created equal. Some cars we can't do the fog on because of the system, just the design of the system. It doesn't work. So you have to have the experience to know which cars you can do it on and what's the benefit. So I guess we might need to keep this conversation going a little bit.
I know, but one of those things is sometimes people can be overzealous about recommending fuel injection service. I think it goes either way, not enough or too much. Some people think that every car needs a fuel injection service. But a lot of times, Matt, you're selling it in your shop when it's needed to fix a problem or we have a symptom that's coming up. So
right. Yeah, and it's I guess if you're at the shop and they tell you, do you want well, I guess, the car wash, do you want fuel injectors? Well, why would I want it? If you don't have any symptom at all and you got some kid telling you about it and he can do it in 15 minutes, I don't think it's worth your money. I've said this before, save your $89 and go help a homeless person or donate it to the Cub Scouts or church or whatever, because I think you'll feel better about spending the money. We can get into the better ways to do the service.
For sure. When we come back, everyone looks a little quiet today. We got wide open phone lines, 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. Maybe you got that list of problems you're not sure what to do with. Maybe there's a vehicle you're not sure if I should fix it, keep it, get something else. Maybe you got some weird squeak, some weird vibration. All of that stuff we can help you with. 602-277-5827. You listen to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road. And a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life in performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A-plus rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Having an accident is stressful. Dealing with the repair process shouldn't be. Hi, Leo Petrozella for Campus Body Salon. The right to choose a repair facility is yours, not the insurance company's. We work with all insurance companies, but we work for you. Campus Body Salon, Bumper to Bumper Radio approved and independently family owned and operated since 1973. Check out our Cash for Your Crash program where we pay you 10% off of your repair up to $1,000. Campus Body Salon, the best care in collision repair.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. You know, as soon as I heard that song, I would think that my kid would hear that on the radio and consider it an oldie. You know, like when I was growing up, the Beach Boys were the oldies. And now the Spin Doctors are the oldies.
Is that really?
Yeah. Is that terrible?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, welcome back to Bumper Radio. We're helping you with your car at 602-277-5827. And it looks like the phone calls are starting to roll in, Matt. So we've got Mike in Chandler. He's got a 1998 Toyota Avalon. How can we help you, Mike? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Good morning, gentlemen. I also have a 97 Avalon with a few less miles, but they both could really use some new shocks. And now, before the holidays, I heard you mention you were not in favor of the, I believe it was the Ready shock, where it's the shock and spring all in one package.
Quick struts.
But Yes, but these are 20-year-old cars. How often should you replace the springs?
Well, what I would do in your case is maybe talk to the shop that you use, because there are certain cases. I don't like to use that broad stroke. They're all like that, or they all do it, or none of them work kind of thing. I would talk to your shop and say, what's your experience on quick struts? I think that's what I want to do. On an Avalon, that's a bigger, heavier car. You get down, I've had some bad experiences with the quick struts on a Honda Civic. The thing left looking like a four-wheel drive truck, because it was just up so high. So in the case of the Avalon, it might work, but again, that's where you want to have the conversation with the service advisor or technician and kind of get their feeling of the car, I think. And you're in Chandler, a couple great shops depending on which side of Chandler you're on. Greg over at Automotive Diagnostic Specialties close to I-10, or you got Desert Car Care, further east if you don't have a shop that you don't.
I'd be curious. I mean, there's some shops that just do springs. And I don't know a ton about springs, but there's a spring rate. But I think the ride height would be something you'd be looking at to find out if your springs are shot. Because if the ride height is still factory, it's still the day it rolled off the lot, we don't have a spring problem. So that's maybe one of the things to look at. Are we having? Because I think that's the idea, is that these springs have been on there for, in this case, 20 years. Do they need to go in the dumpster?
I'm going to take the cynical side of me.
We're not cynical at all.
Yeah, right. We're talking about in the beginning of the show, we're talking about fuel injection services and quick services and even transmission flushes, right, Dave? And I'm going somewhere with this, so just stick with me, okay? So why were these services invented, or who came up with them? They came up with them so more people could service cars. Because you take a quick lube, for example, they don't have time to pull a transmission pan and go through all this job. It's a really it's not difficult, but you have to know what you're doing to service the transmission right.
Part suppliers are trying to make it idiot-proof, if I can say that.
Okay, yeah. So instead of doing a full transmission service, now they make it so we can stick a straw down the tube and suck the fluid out and call it a service. Now more people can do that. The quick lubes and the drive-thrus can do that. So sometimes I wonder if that's not why the quick strut was born. Because you have to have a very expensive piece of equipment to collapse that old strut and take it apart and still reuse the spring. It is dangerous to do. I mean, you can really injure yourself if you don't do it right.
I've seen a few fingers disappear.
So now because now the average, I call it hairy homeowner, he can't do that in his house, okay? So now Monroe or somebody comes, hey, if we build this strut like this, more people can do this service on their car. More shops can sell our products. So that's kind of where they were born of, I believe.
Yeah, I kind of I kind of get the feel, and it's easy to put it together. Oh, it's going to have new springs on it, this and the other. But those springs are not the same springs that rolled out of the Toyota factory. I'm not thinking so. So I think what I see part suppliers do is to create fewer SKUs or part numbers. They start to gray the difference between this one's a spring rate of 180, this one's a 190. We'll make it 185.
Yeah, because you take
210, 220.
Yeah, that's all the same, right? You take an Avalon for a model. I think I can't remember the acronyms, but you might have an XLE or a Sport. Well, your fully loaded Avalon may have a different suspension setup than your basic Avalon, and the manual or the parts calc may not differentiate between the two. So you might get sold short. So
hopefully we made your decision easier, Mike, and we didn't confuse you worse than when we started. But if you're working with a good shop, Matt mentioned ADS out there in Chandler, somebody like that. Maybe you got a good shop you work with already. They'll be able to figure it out and get you down the road. So, Matt, let's sneak in Rob in Ahwatukee. He's got a 2007 Honda Accord. How can we help you, Rob? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
First off, Happy New Year, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah, you too.
Before break, you're talking about the not doing the fuel injection service, but you have these additives that you can put in with your tank of gas. Can you talk about the effectiveness of those, and am I really going to see the performance bump by just a little 3 or 4 ounces of additive?
Dave, we can.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Matt and I were talking before the show. Are they going to experience better fuel economy? Are they going to, and Matt says it's just not going to deteriorate as bad, I mean, so there's a baseline when the car was new, and stuff's going to start to fall off. I would imagine there is a benefit, and I don't know, bottle of Techron, how many ounces do you actually add
The whole bottle, 12 or 16 ounces,
Okay.
something like that, too.
Is it going to make a difference? I think it does. I mean, can we measure it? I guess we could. We could do some testing to measure it and to see, but I think the overall consensus is that some of that is helpful. More helpful for some cars versus others, just a bit based on their fuel delivery system, because they're not all the same.
I guess you could take it like vitamins. You can pop some vitamin C today, and you might feel an effect or something, but it's a long-term thing, and you want to be preventive and proactive. Adding a can of fuel injection cleaner to the tank is not going to solve a problem that's been created because of dirty fuel injectors or the carbon buildup in the engine associated with it. You may prevent it from happening over the course by just, it's like teeth cleaning. We talked about that too.
Oh yeah.
The few days or a month after you just got your teeth cleaned, it's starting to build up already. But the more you brush, the more you floss, the more you do your own stuff at home, it doesn't build up as much. Same thing with fuel injectors. If you just put in that every so often, maybe once in between every oil change cycle or something like that, I think we will see a benefit. You're never going to get better mileage than your car ever got in the first place, or improved performance that was never there. You will maintain it or maybe get back to it.
Yeah, I think the vitamin is a good analogy. I remember going to the doctor because I got MS. I said, "Hey, apparently people with MS have low vitamin D." He goes, "I'm not just going to have you take vitamin D to take it." He goes, "Let's test it out." So we tested it out, and I had low vitamin D. So I take vitamin D. So it's a good idea, and it's part of my regimen. So anyhow, when we come back, we're taking phone calls at 602-277-5827. We got, looks like Adam, Jonas, John, Tim, and George. You listen to Matt and Davey, or KTAR Car Guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
They're going to go nuts when he hits this thing.
The Waste Management Phoenix Open, presented by the Auction Indian Community, January 29th to February 4th. Get your tickets today at WMPhoenixOpen.com.
Hi, I'm Dave Riccio, owner of Tri-City Transmission. Well, you may have come to know us for being a transmission expert. What you may not know is that our customers regularly ask us why we don't perform repairs to the rest of the vehicle. You guys are so great. Why work on just the transmission? Well, the request became hard to ignore, and 3 years ago, we began to build an infrastructure to perform general automotive repair. We weren't going to do general repair if we couldn't be great at it. So in 2013, we began the soft opening of Tri-City Auto Repair on Smith Road. We brought on ASE Master Technicians to work side by side with our Master Transmission Technicians. The combination of the best in both of these trades has created a synergy that allows us not only to fix your transmission, but to service and repair your whole car, and to do it well. Let's face it, the modern car has become so integrated. We believe all of our expert knowledge puts us ahead of the curve. Find us at TricityTransmission.com or TempeAutoRepairShop.com. That's TempeAutoRepairShop.com.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper to bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix. KTAR News on 92.3 FM, Arizona's news station. KTAR, on air, 92.3 FM, online at KTAR.com, and streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic, now.
It's 11:30. I'm Tom Perumian. Here's our top story. The Dow Jones Industrial Average surged past 25,000 on Thursday, a strong signal of investor enthusiasm for President Donald Trump's $1.5 trillion tax cut. The Wall Street analysts estimate the tax package should boost earnings for companies in the S&P 500 index roughly 8% this year. Well, the man charged with improving veterans care is happy with what happened over the past year.
Job calls at the Veterans Crisis Line have fallen to less than 1%, and veterans unemployment has reached a 17-year low. Just two of several 2017 accomplishments being touted by VA Secretary Dr. David Shulkin, but he tells Arizona's Morning News there's a really big one he's focused on this year.
Reduce veteran suicide. We're having 20 veterans a day taking their life through suicide, which is just a staggering number and really unacceptable.
Shulkin says his goal is to make sure any veteran dealing with an emotional problem or suffering alone knows there's plenty of help available. Jeremy Foster, KTAR News.
Now we got to check on traffic. Let's go to Mike Daniels in the KTAR Traffic Center.
Well, thanks, Tom. Still working that crash blocking the right lane US 60 eastbound at Gilbert Road. Got a wreck on Indian School Road just east of 83rd Avenue, and a crash cleared at Mesa on the 60 westbound at Power Road. This report brought to you by Inspire Sleep. Discover Inspire, a breakthrough sleep apnea treatment that works inside your body with your natural breathing process. No mask, no hose, no noise. Visit InspireSleep.com today. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
We've got cloudy skies ahead of rain reported for Tuesday. We'll see highs in the mid-70s, lows overnight in the low 50s. Right now, 66 degrees in Mesa. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. I'm Tom Perumian on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
If you own a home or plan to own one, you need Rosie. Every Arizona homeowner's best friend, Rosie on the House. Saturday mornings at 7 right here. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Having an accident is stressful. Dealing with a repair process shouldn't be. Hi, Leo Petrozella for Campus Body Salon. The right to choose a repair facility is yours, not the insurance companies. We work with all insurance companies, but we work for you. Campus Body Salon, bumper-to-bumper radio approved and independently family-owned and operated since 1973. Check out our Cash for Your Crash program where we pay you 10% off of your repair up to $1,000. Campus Body Salon, the best care in collision repair.
Here's what Carrie from Tempe had to say about her experience with Good Works Auto Repair.
As soon as you realize, I need to get some work done on my car, I'm sure the thought occurs to you that you're about to get taken for a ride. I used to share the same sentiment and wondered if the shop was going to make something up and have me spending hundreds of dollars instead of $30 I was planning on for a simple oil change. This is one of the reasons I will only go to Good Works Auto Repair. Because I trust them. Putting trust in an auto shop didn't come easily. It's been built over several visits with them doing exactly what was needed, not coercing me into unnecessary work. Ask them for an oil change and a safety inspection, they do just that. No baloney, list of filters, belts, and whatchamacallits that need replacing on my new car. Thank you, Good Works Auto Repair, for being there for me when I need you.
Appreciate the kind words. It's always a pleasure. Glenn Hayward here. Come experience what award-winning auto service should be. Good Works Auto Repair in Tempe, or visit us at goodworksautorepair.com.
This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Matt Allen, Dave Riccio by my side, and talking about cars every single Saturday morning. So if it's got anything to do with the car, you know, we can help you with it. We will certainly try. I want to start this segment with a little bit out of breath. I had to run to that microphone. Well, Dave and I weren't watching the clock, but I just want to start this segment a little somber note. We the Valley, the country, the automotive industry lost a leader this week on Thursday. Mr. Bruce Halley, the founder of Discount Tire, passed away. He was a Valley resident. And So it's a big loss for the industry. I mean, that guy was a true leader. I think he probably changed the world of tires.
Yeah, he did.
Had probably more influence than anybody. So the Halley family, the Van Brunt family, the entire Discount Tire family, our thoughts are with you, all the employees and everybody. Dave, I was on Facebook last night, and if you're on Facebook, go to the Discount Tire page. They put up a little post just acknowledging, the rumor, just making it official. And if you read the comments about that man, it is amazing what people had to say about him, how he helped his employees, helped the community, his foundations, and the stuff that they've done for everybody. You hear comments on there from customers that he just took care of because it was the right thing to do, or his ability to recall employees that he hadn't seen or talked to in years. And so again, thoughts are with the Discount Tire family today, and I'm sure they will keep his legacy alive the way he treated the people.
Oh yeah, for sure. Neat organization.
Yes.
Well, let's get the phones. We're going to go with Adam in Gilbert. He's got a 1989 Ford F-150. How can we help you, Adam? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Oh, hi. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
So I have a 89 F-150 4x4, and the problem with my truck is that it seems to be it stalls out on me sometimes. Like if I make a sharp turn, it'll drive for, I don't know, maybe 40 feet and start to stutter out, and eventually stall out. I've had the fuel pump replaced twice, and I don't know. I was just wondering if what do you guys think? There might be something else, or
is that the 5 liter, 5.8 liter?
5.8.
5.8 liter.
Does it only stall after turning the corner? And that's really not significant enough information.
Okay. It tends to stall out other times as well. Maybe not always, but it's like after I make a turn, then I'll start driving for a while, and then eventually it'll stall out.
Well, is a while a half hour, or is a while 100 yards?
Well, it could be like it could be maybe a mile.
And does it shut off while you're driving, or do you come down to a stop or a lower speed when it stalls?
It could be that I could be pushing on my gas pedal, and then it'll start to stutter.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll either stall out or it'll keep trucking along.
When it stalls out, does it restart instantly?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's a tough one just to think about over the time. You almost have to feel it and drive the car to have a better understanding. Since it starts right back up, I'm not thinking we have an ignition system, an ignition module or something like that going bad. Not quite sure why the fuel pump was replaced. I guess, Dave, if we were testing this in the shop, we might put a fuel pressure gauge on it and verify fuel pressure, drive the car, see if we can. We have to create the symptom first. We have to feel it doing it. We're going to be checking fuel pressure. Hey, we talked about dirty fuel systems. I'm sure that's not necessarily the problem here, but you could have an overly carboned up throttle body and an idle control motor not working well. But that's typically not going to affect a cruise speed. That's going to be more idle. So
yeah, you can. You can oversimplify it. A car needs air, needs fuel, and it needs spark, and we're losing one of those or a combination of all three. If something's not quite up to par or up to snuff. So the fuel pressure, we're doing a fuel pressure test on it, seeing if we do have good spark. Sometimes it can be electrical where, something is not all the way there. That's like early carburetor days. Computer days in cars.
We're talking about an 89 F-150. I bet a lot of people have had their hands on this car.
Yes.
So this isn't like a 2009 F-150 where you have to wonder about what has happened to it in the past so much as you would on an 89. So, Adam, good luck with that. If you're looking for a shop in Gilbert, we've got one. Go to bumpertobumperradio.com. Otherwise, I think that's really good to need to find a shop.
Yeah, it could even be something. Does it have the 2 fuel tanks on them?
Yeah.
How many of those old trucks did you have a problem with fuel tanks?
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
Yeah, strange thing. So, not a radio type of a deal today, unfortunately.
So thanks for the call, Adam. 602-277-5827. Looks like we got Jonas on the line from Ahwatukee. And Jonas, it sounds like you got a question on what is the most reliable car on the market, and how do you know?
Yeah. How's it going, guys? Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, so yeah, I'm just listening to the show with my daughter Lexi, and it's actually her question. She was curious as to what your opinion is on the most reliable car on the market these days from a shop's perspective, or I guess maybe the best value car out there right now. What do you guys think?
Well, we're going to let you buy in the rule, but usually Lexi has to be the one to ask the question if it was her question. So, but thanks for the question, Lexi. We're glad you're listening. But Dave, that's probably the most common question we get, and I don't know. Maybe go to Consumer Reports if you want to find some facts. I mean, I guess we have opinion. They probably do a little more, but that's just such an open-ended question.
It never fails. I mean, I was asked this question yesterday. As soon as I tell someone I own an auto shop, they say, "Okay, what's the best kind of car?" And it never fails. In my answer, this is just me. I like Toyota. I drive a Nissan because I like the Nissan. I like the way it drives. I like the way it looks, and I think it makes me look cool. So that's what's really important to me. and so it depends on what's important to you, and there's no broad stroke. So I can take a Honda Accord with a 4-cylinder and say that's a really reliable car, but the next Honda Accord with a V6, same year and everything, I say that car is not reliable at all. So even within models, there's differences that make this one reliable versus that one not reliable, and so that it's a very complex answer. So there is no easy answer.
No, and I remember like when Hyundai and Kia first came out, they weren't necessarily the car they are today, but guess who was buying them? People were buying them that maybe weren't in the price range for a Honda or a Toyota, so they bought the less expensive car, and they were already stretched to do that. And then so what happened? Then they didn't take care of the car, so the car got a bad rap because of who owned the car. Maybe it's like your dog. Maybe you got a pit bull. The pit bull gets the bad rap because of the perceptions. So
well, the American way there, Jonas, on that is you got to look good. Buy what makes you look good. No, right. I'm teasing about that, but yeah. So certain types of owners, like a Toyota Camry, I think that's a good car, but maybe it's the type of customer that buys that car.
Exactly.
They take care of it, they maintain it, they did their research, they keep them forever, and so they come into it wanting to take care of the car. So it's such a complex. But if you want something that's really low maintenance, isn't going to cost you anything to fix, don't buy a European car like a Land Rover or something. That's a sweet car, but you know what?
Yeah.
They got weird keys, and with weird keys comes weird prices.
There's all sorts to get weird keys now, Dave.
That's true. There's no the round GM key with the square one. Round was for the door. So anyway, thanks for the call. Let's go with, looks like George in Phoenix. He's got a 2006 Jeep Grand Cherokee. How can we help you, George? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call, by the way. So I have a little bit of rust forming on my roof right above the windshield. And that's been there for a little while now. It's been getting a little bit worse. And I'm not quite sure whether I should, get that fixed and put money into a paint job or just, see if I can turn it in for something else or get a new car, or maybe even do it myself.
Is this car an Arizona original car, or did this come from elsewhere?
I think the previous owner might have had it in California, but I'm not quite sure.
Well, I guess that's something I'd take to a body shop and have them take a look at. Dave, what do you think? I mean,
that's what I'm thinking too. But a big part of his question was, should I trade the car in? Should I get something else? He's got some surface rust up above the windshield, that kind of thing. So the body shop's going to tell you. I mean, if the whole vehicle's rusted out, well, that's a different. Go get a different car if that bothers you. But to decide whether you're going to get rid of the car because of this rust spot, I'm sure it can certainly be fixed. And if you need a body shop, bumpertobumperradio.com, just go talk to them, see what they have to say about it. But if you're thinking about getting another car already, maybe just go get another car.
Yeah, weigh it out. I mean, maybe you go to the body shop, because maybe if this car came, well, California, you don't think too much of rust really either. But, if this thing, there's got a little thing up by the windshield, maybe that started off as a scratch or a nick or something, and it has evolved. But you might find if maybe there was something else about this car. Maybe it came from the Midwest. You might get to the body shop, and they might find the rocker panels are rusted, and you can't see that. So, and then maybe go to your mechanic and have an inspection of the car done, get the overall condition before you jump in. But, hey, if you just want to get a new car, heck with it. Go get yourself a new car.
For sure.
If that's what you're in the mood for, too. You know, treat yourself, sure.
Thanks for the call, George. 602-277-5827. When we come back, we've got George in Sun City and looks like Howard, and maybe time for another couple calls. You listen to Matt and Dave, Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
Hi, I'm Kurt Morgan, owner of Shadow Mountain Auto Service in Phoenix. I'm also a college automotive instructor, and I've been a technician for over 30 years. In that time, I've seen all kinds of games and gimmicks in the auto repair business, the worst of which seems to be associated with transmissions. I think it's because, to most, including technicians, the inside of a transmission is a mystery. So when one of our valued customers has a transmission problem, we send them straight to Tri-City Transmission. No games, no gimmicks. That's Tri-City Transmission.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper to bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurtz.
Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, Matt, I've only written the date down 3 times this week, and each time I was able to write 18. 18. You know, I had to think about it. By March, it should be second nature.
You know what, Dave? Speaking of the date today, I didn't forget it. I remembered it earlier. January 6th. Today is Tim's birthday. Tim from my shop, Tim Nelson. He comes in the show when you're absent, Dave, and the listeners, I think, know him. So, Tim Nelson, happy birthday.
Should we sing it? Okay, we're not going to do that.
No, I'm not singing to Tim.
All right.
No serenade to Tim.
Forget it.
I love you, Tim, but not singing.
Before we get the phones, we got a text here. How about diesel trucks for engine cleaners? And it's really almost the same. You know, what we're talking about, just regular old petro cars, you know, versus
petrol
versus diesel. There is additives specifically made for diesel, and I have found them to be effective when we've had some of these cars that had sicknesses.
Yes.
You know, throw a little diesel schmooey in there.
Well, and if you have a diesel that fails emissions, for example, you just got, a lot of times, just take the car out and just flog that thing. I mean, just run it hard, and oftentimes that'll clean it up. There's 2 different things on the diesel. So there's cetane booster, which is like an octane booster for the fuel, and then there's another cleaner. I think the brand of cleaner you want to use is Standardine.
That's familiar.
Yeah, and those are the diesel experts, and I'm not sure where to buy that stuff. Probably Southwest Diesel. Probably find it online somewhere too if you're looking for your diesel.
For sure. We are going to go with George in Sun City West. He's got a 2013 Toyota Corolla. How can we help you, George? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
I don't put many miles on my car, and so I have a maintenance question. I only turned over 10,000 miles, and when do I perform all the oil changes and the radiator flushes and do all that kind of stuff when you don't put many miles on it?
Well, you're doing about 2,500 miles a year, so that's about 13,000 miles less than the average. So, yeah, I would say I like the hood to be open twice a year.
Twice a year.
I would change the oil once a year. To probably make you feel better. You got a technician there looking at everything. One of the things you mentioned that is a problem is the coolant. Okay, coolant. I think it turns acidy over time, and so it starts to eat out the cooling system. And so sometimes we call these cars that spent their life out in Sun City. Now the car is 15 years old, and somebody buys it. Says, "I've only got 40,000 miles on it. This car's great." And as soon as you put a teenager in it and he drives it like a scolded dog, the cooling system starts breaking down. So I would change the coolant in it. It doesn't need to happen probably for 3, 4, 5 years, but that's one thing. And then get in the shop maybe once, twice a year. Have it looked at. I mean, tires go low, things start to happen. What are you thinking?
Well, a couple things, several things actually.
Lots of things.
Look at the birthday on the car. Go look at the door jamb, and you're going to have the manufacturer date. For you, that's your trigger. Not when you bought the car necessarily, but the birthday of the car. Maybe it was born in October of 2013. It might have been born in November of 2012. But like Dave said, the coolant, I would maybe do that at the 5-year birthday of that car. You just put back the Toyota factory coolant, and probably just for the heck of it, for the $12 or $14, I'd just throw a radiator cap on it. Might as well.
Right.
The other stuff, I think you can help. There's not really much else that needs to be done. Spark plugs don't wear out. I'd do the oil change once a year. But
tires, I worry about tires 5, 6 years. I'm starting to go, tires kind of have a shelf life to them.
Yeah, but if George is just rolling to the grocery store, maybe going to church, he's not leaving town, I'm less worried about the tires because he's probably not getting on the freeway. But, the 6-year mark probably, that's what many of the tire manufacturers say. But in the interim, when you're driving the car, there's some things you can do. One, I would always make sure that no matter when you drive the car, you get it up to operating temperature. That's going to really help. It's worse to take the car. People say, they go out of town, they have their grandson come over and start the car and let it idle in the garage for a couple minutes while they're out of town. That's worse than not starting the car at all. Because you need to get it up to operating temperature to get all the, when the engine's running, it's creating condensation. That condensation goes in the oil. And if it doesn't get hot enough to steam out, you're just causing damage to the oil. I mean, who's our bumper to bumper oil expert and tribologist, Jason from Lab 1? He has a diesel truck. He takes it's only from his house to his lab is only 3 miles, but he takes a 7-mile drive to get to work because he knows the consequences, the damage that will be done to the oil in the engine by not getting it warmed up on his drive. So he twice as far as he has to drive, he drives because it helps his truck.
It's kind of nice after work, too. You got to kind of clear your mind before you come walking in the door. Otherwise, you might kick the dog or something.
Right.
Just go around the block a few times before you walk in.
Gives you a chance to
shake it all up.
Yeah, gives you a chance to jam the tunes a little bit or make a phone call or something. So yeah, George, just make sure you're getting that sucker hot. Get that temperature gauge to the halfway mark every time you drive the car.
We call that an Italian tune-up from where I'm taking it out and flog the car every now.
No, you don't need to flog it.
Right.
The diesel that failed emissions you got to flog.
All right, for sure. Well, let's go with Howard. He's got a 1996 Chevy Tahoe with a 4x4. How can we help you, Howard? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I got a problem with, I don't know if it's ignition or something, but we put a brand new motor in it. Me and my brother. We got in it, starting it up, and it cranks over real hard, and then it'll fire up. In the mornings when it's cold, it cranks up like a normal car. But if I run it into town or wherever and it warms up a little bit, turn it off, try to, start it up, it cranks, and then it fires right up.
Does that car have a distributor on that one? I can't.
Yes.
I'd be looking at the timing. Dave's nodding his head.
Yep.
Why did you replace the engine? I guess it just blowed it up or something happened?
Yeah, we were going up to Big Lake and it dropped oil pump in it.
I got you.
Real bearing.
Yeah, so I'd be looking at ignition timing. Dave, what else? What do you think?
Well, I know in there, I think, too, you got to go into the computer and set that. You got to set that up because sometimes that's not, I remember fighting with one. My guy was fighting with it. we did a motor on something this vintage.
Yeah.
And he's like, I swear I got it right, Pulling the distributor out, putting it back in, pulling it out, putting it back in, and then a smarter tech in the shop came over and plugged into it with the scanner.
Yeah, because the computer takes over control of the timing. So you have to have the base timing set. And so if you're turning the distributor, you might move it a couple degrees, and the computer's just moving it right. You know, not moving the distributor, but internally, it's electronically, it's just putting it right back where it was. So you've got to make sure when you're doing that. Some cars you have to go with the scan tool, or there's a wire you have to unplug or short out or do something. Dave, I saw one of the guys in the shop the other day. I hadn't seen it forever. Had a timing light out. I'm like, wow, there's a tool that does not come out of the toolbox very often anymore, is the timing light. Yeah. I used to have mine on my cart, used it every day.
Yeah,
that was 20 years
ago.
ago.
I have not seen one in my shop at least 5 years.
Yeah,
at least 5 years.
At least. So, we've got there's a gentleman here that sent us a message, maybe for our friend with the F-150. Just something to think about. He says, I had a 4x4 F-250, had some water in the tank. When I'd turn, it would slosh and the car would stall. And, maybe just an idea. That's certainly a shot in the dark.
Well, but you're gonna see what drops out. When the thing, and so for us is, if we can go experience it, we got a fuel pressure gauge on it. We're gonna go around corners, do all the things you say you got to do to make it stall, and we're gonna see what goes away. Does the spark go away? Does the fuel pressure drop out? What's happening to it that we need to fix?
Hey, and last but not least, Dave, I'll let you do this one because it's transmission related. But someone wanted to know about setting the brake or using your parking brake on a hill and the effect on the transmission and stuff. What's your advice?
I would say, ideally, if you throw it in a park and then set the parking brake, it may be hard to get it out of park when it's time to put it in drive. So you might set the parking brake and then put the car in park, but definitely use the parking brake from time to time. It helps adjust a lot of brakes on a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Use it. Otherwise, this part of the country we don't have a problem with the parking brake rusting out. Other parts of the country, no one's parking brake works.
Use it or lose it, right? It may stop working someday.
You got to exercise it. Well, we're glad you could join us. Thanks for running the dials in there. We got Bree with us today. She's been out the last couple weekends, so good to see you. And
Keegan helping out.
Keegan, yes.
He's learning, getting trained.
He's on the dials. So anyhow, we hope you guys have a good new year. And from all the shops at Bumper to Bumper Radio, stay safe. We'll see you next week.